Hi everyone, we're just waiting for a few more people to join in. Give it for a few minutes and then start. Hi everyone, welcome. We're waiting for a couple more people to join in and then kick off. So another 30 seconds, we give some people to join and then go in. For those who are already here, thanks for joining in on time. Uh, as I've said in the chat, don't forget to use the chat for any chit chat, and also use the questions tab to ask us any questions related to the webinar. Even if it's not related to the webinar, you may ask and either during the session or at the end of the session, or we will answer them. All right, looks like we're getting to our target zone now. So we'll kick off now. Thanks everyone for joining in. Today we've got a interesting session. So Samir will take us through what's new in PO and few things in PEX if time allows. As most of you know, that there is a number of things that are coming into the new models or the new versions, and would be interesting to see how we can take it back and utilize or use that in our current models. Before we jump into that, we've been getting a lot of international attendees, and a lot of them don't know us as Octane. So I'll just go through quickly a couple of things that we as Octane do, and probably talk a bit more about Octane. This will only take a few more minutes. All right. So Octane is a premier IBM partner, a gold partner based in Australia. We're based out of Sydney. Our head office is in Sydney, and we mainly look after or look at automating and providing expertise to the finance teams to implement, install budgeting, planning tools, analytics tools, reporting tools. And we've also recently signed up with Blackline, which I'll talk about a bit further. We do consulting, so we able to work with the CFO and the team of finance and in understanding and workshop what the correct budgeting forecasting process or the model should look like. We've got the expertise and the scale to do the development. We've got development teams both in Australia, India, and Middle East. We also provide support. So post development, we've got 24/7 support team. And a big part of what we do is we provide training to our existing clients or even out to the market. And there's a few more things on training that I'll talk about a bit later today. How we are structured. So we are an IBM Blackline partner. We partnered with few other organizations apart from IBM and Blackline, things like Modeler, Qubit. We've got 6 offices around the world. We've got 30 plus certified consultants. This has grown a bit more since we've been doing this. So it's closer to 40 now. And we've got more than 100 successful project deliveries around the world. The main 2 solutions that we deal in is IBM Planning Analytics, and today's webinar is on IBM Planning Analytics, and most of you would be aware of it already, so I won't talk much about it. But one thing we all know is it is one of the best planning applications out there. The other tool we deal with is Blackline. So if you haven't heard of Blackline or don't know what it is, it's probably a good time to do some research. Blackline is an application that's cloud-based and modernizes the finance and accounting functions. It automates the back-end close, the month-end closures, and things like that. This is going off very hot, especially due to pandemic, when most of the finance teams are working remotely or not all in the office all at the same time. And this is an application that helps with that process. So if anyone is interested, do let us know, and we'll be happy to talk about that later. Apart from dealing with the plain IBM and Blackline applications, there are certain things that we do as well. So Data Fusion is our in-house built TM1 connector. So no system is an island, especially in an enterprise situation. And we do realize that there will be times where you need to take the data from TM1 into other applications. And the most common one was taking TM1 data into Power BI. So what we've done is we've developed a connector which seamlessly connects TM1 into Power BI, Click, Tableau, or any other database tools out there. And be able to, with the press of a button, once we configure it, you'd be able to move data from TM1 into any other application. So this takes care of any reconciliation, timing issues, and things like that. So this is proving also very popular. And currently we are offering a 60-day trial. Again, if this is something that you're interested in, do let us know, and we'll organize a trial to be set up at your place, and you can check it out. We've also on Monday we'll be releasing a set of training. So what we've realized is that there is very limited material and training available on PO and PEX. So we'll be releasing officially on Monday, and after this session I'll be able to send all of you a link to use till Monday, which is a 4-hour training session on PO or PEX for $99, and you can probably grab your company card and get onto that. The first sessions are in June on 16th and 18th. Because of the way we structure training, there is limited seats available for each one of the sessions. So there are 12 seats only in the session. This is normally quite popular. So if you are interested, by virtue of registering today, you get pre-access to that. I'll jump on that. The other thing that we are known for is managed services. So this is something that we started off doing for the larger clients around the world, the big banks and all that, but we've matured the offering now to be able to offer to any size. So whether you require support or development, so you may only require support for a couple of hours a week or a few days a month, and it does not justify hiring someone to do it or using your traditional vendors to do it. That's where we come in, and our support flexibility means that our managed service means that you can either pre-buy the number of hours you think you need, or you can use a ticketing system and just sign up with us. And whenever you need any kind of support, you just raise a ticket, and our teams are available 24/7, and they'll be able to do that. What this means is that whether you require for a large project 5 to 10 TM1 developers, or you only require someone to help you support or do the backfill, we'll be able to help you out without any penalty rates. This is proving quite popular, so it would be also, if you are interested in something like this, feel free to reach out to us, and we will provide further details for this. This slide probably gives you a good indication of the type and the size of the clients that we deal with. So we everything from some of the smaller organizations locally based here or in India to some of the largest global enterprises. So we've got expertise and experience working with all types of clients, and would be happy to assist you with anything. Moving on, we'll go on to the topic of the day today, and I will hand over to Samir, and he'll take us through what he thinks are some of the best features of in the new releases. Just give me a second and I'll hand over. Over to you, Samir.
All right, thanks, Amindra. Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Before I kickstart, Amindra, can you confirm that you can see my PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Samir, and I work for Octane as a managing consultant. A bit of background about myself. I've been working with TM1 for the past 14 years, and with Octane, I've been working for the past 5 years almost. The first thing probably you'll notice with this slide is the name of TM1. As you can see, IBM has rebranded the name TM1, and it is now known as IBM Planning Analytics with Watson. I think we have seen the name of TM1 evolving from the name TM1 to Cognos TM1, and then there was another change to IBM Cognos TM1, and then we changed it to IBM Planning Analytics, and now IBM has rebranded in the last, I think since April, it is known as IBM Planning Analytics with Watson. Right, so for today's session, I'll be focusing on the latest and the greatest features of Planning Analytics Workspace. So I've just mentioned as PAW. PAW stands for Planning Analytics Workspace. For those of you who don't know what PAW is, it is one of the front-end for TM1. So TM1, we all know it works really well with Excel, but we also have a front end called Planning Analytics Workspace. And Workspace has been there since 2015 or the beginning of 2016, so almost close to now 5 years. So in today's session, what you're going to see, one of the theme of this session will be the pixel perfect reporting. I think one of the things which I have noticed in Workspace since the Workspace was created was it was good in dragging and dropping. And the one thing which all the customers were used to ask is how good it is when we compare with, say, Power BI, for instance. As we all know, Power BI can have some good looking dashboard and pixel perfect reporting as well. So that was something which was lacking with PAW for a very long time. But with the latest release of PAW, I'll be going through version 63, which is the latest we have in the market. I think you'll be amazed to see some of the look and feel, and when I say pixel perfect reporting, the length, the width of an image, or the positioning, the angle. I think you'll see a lot of things, and the color palettes, which has been due for a very long time. I think initially we used to have a set number of colors. Now you can bring, or now you can have any color you want to have. So things like that. I think you'll see a lot of things I'll be going through in today's session. So, and again, before I jump into some of the features, I think if you go to google.com and type in what's new in IBM Planning Analytics Workspace, you'll find many links. But the first link, if you click on that, you will be going to a IBM site where it will list all the features. And as you click on any of these features, you will notice a bit more details around what features IBM has added. So something to keep in mind, and probably you can add this link to your favorites, and maybe you can come once in a month or once every fortnight and look for any new versions and add it to this list. Right. So I'll go through in a random order. I don't have any top 10 or 20 favorite features, but I'm going to just run through the features of what I find very interesting. And I want to share all those things with you guys so that if you're on version 63, probably you can utilize those things as well. So I'm going to flip my screen now to Planning Analytics Workspace. So I've got two screens on my monitor. On the left is the version 57. So Planning Analytics Workspace 57. And on the right, what you see is the latest version of Planning Analytics Workspace, which is version 63. And that's the latest available in the market. There is version 64 coming up in the next couple of weeks. But as of now, we have 63 as the latest. So the first one I have, as I mentioned in my PowerPoint slide, is the navigation pane. So even before I jump into the navigation pane, you can instantly see the look and feel of the landing page itself has changed a lot compared to version 57 versus version 63. The first thing you will notice here is in version 57 and the previous version of 57, you have a lot of things going on in this. You have a banner on the top, you have something called administration page, you have a search, you have this different types of folders, and then of course you have all your reports, which could be a view or web sheet or folder. But on the right side, if you see the latest version of Planning Analytics, it is much more where it gives the full flexibility for the user to customize the landing page. When I say customize, if I don't want to see this, I can close this window. And you can see I'm getting more space on my landing page. And I've got something called quick launch. Again, if I don't want to see that, I can hide that. And you can see the difference between the left side and the right side. Now, all these features, if I want to see, now that's where I want to talk about. The first feature is the navigation pane. So as you can see, there are three dots here. So by clicking on the three dots, that's a navigation pane. It's a collapsible navigation pane. And if you need it, you can click on that. You can see all those things which we see like a shade, personal, and users is available in there. So whereas in the previous versions, it is there on your landing page. You don't have the option to hide or unhide. But with this option, with the latest version, you have that flexibility to choose this navigation pane and select the options you want to see. So that's the first feature, I think, by using this navigation pane. And just one more thing I want to highlight on this landing page is IBM has added this this help where you can click, and you can also look for something. For instance, I think it's still loading here. Or you can even search if you want to how to create a new workspace book, for instance. I think it will list you all the articles, including the video clips. For example, I'm going to workbooks, work in books and views. Oh, maybe I don't have anything there. Okay, new experience walkthrough. Then I've got something called Introduction to IBM Planning Analytics Workspace. And then there is a video clip which talks about the exact same thing what I'm talking about, the landing page. So I think that's something which will be very helpful for all the new users, especially who wants to learn about what Planning Analytics Workspace and how to create their own reports. All right, so that's pretty much the first one I have on my list, which is called navigation pane, which is basically these three dots. Right, so the next one I have is reports. So when I say reports, as you can see from the previous version of Workspace, we have all the reports pretty much stacked on the landing page itself. Whereas if I go to this, the new version of TM1 or the Workspace, I don't have that reports laid out. So to go to the reports, I have to click on this navigation pane, and then I have this option called reports and analysis. So let me click on that. Right. So when I click on that, I have got the exact same set of reports what I can see in the older version of Planning Analytics. Now the things which we normally do in the Planning Analytics Workspace, like doing a filter on only the say books, where we can do a lot of filtering on this, that option is now available in the new version using this filter view, by which I can select and I can say, okay, I want to see only the books. So that option is available still there. If I want to create a new folder, which normally I use this one to create a new folder, now that is also available using this icon called create a new folder. Now, one thing, another thing which they have added, IBM has added in this is, oops, sorry, right, is if I want to see this reports in the grid view, by which I will get similar look and feel of what the older version of PO is, or I can select the list view. So list view will give me pretty much all the reports in the list, and it will also tell me whether it's a book or a view or a web sheet or a folder. So we get that option as well, list or grid. So that's how you can see your reports. Instead of seeing on the landing page, you have to click on the reports from the navigation pane. Right, the next feature I have got it for you is the favorites. Now, when we are looking into this report, whether it's a book or folder or view or a web sheet, there is this symbol with a heart. So basically I can click, I can say, okay, that's my favorite, right? And then I can also say sales dashboard is my favorite book. Now, what this will help us is if I go back to the home page, and from the home page, if I click on the favorites, you can see here instantly, I can have my own reports laid out in a way which I want to see. Instead of seeing, for example, you have 50, 60 reports on your landing page, I can handpick those out of those 50 reports, say maybe 5 or 6, which I use often. And then that way you can have set it up as a favorites. And then from your landing page, you can access only those reports which you want to access. And you can customize this to have your own set of reports. So that's your favorites. And if you want to untick your favorites, you can go back to the reports and analysis function, and then you can untick or remove your favorites. So if I remove this and it just have the forecast, so that means now I've just got one. So tick and untick, basically it's your favorite, and you have to remove that from the favorites. So if I go back to the landing page, you can see now I just got one. So you can easily remove the reports or views from your favorites as well. Right. The next one I have is recents, which is basically on the landing page, you have a tab called recents. So when I click on that recents, you can see all the recently viewed reports or clicked reports will be available in this bucket on the landing page. We also have something called your applications. I will not be touching base on that because that's most on the workflow. But in terms of the other tabs, the recent, which you have recently seen, and the favorites is all the reports which you have selected as your favorites. So as you can see now, the landing page looks much more in control of the users than the older version of PAW had the developer setting up the landing page. What he sets up the reports, the users will see that. But whereas with the new landing page, a user will have more options to see and keep their reports in a way that they can access very quickly. All right, the next one is the switcher. Right. So when I click on a new report, for instance, I will click on this plus sign and say new book. So that 2 steps, I can do it from the landing page, the new version, which is clicking on this and navigation pad. And then I click on this new button and then click on this new book. Right. So coming to the feature, which the switcher feature is, if I have to go back to the landing page from this view, in the old version, we have to click on this drop down and you click on this welcome, by which I can switch back to the welcome or the landing page. But with the new version, you don't have that option called welcome here. So what we have to do is we have to use this option called IBM Planning Analytics. So by clicking on this, you can go back to the landing page. But now the point what I want to raise here is, if when I am here in the landing page, it's very easy for me to see, okay, the switcher has got 2 items for me. One is the report and analysis, which is basically this report. If I want, I can close it. And it highlights and it gives you an indication that there is one open window within this PAW. Whereas with the old version, it was a bit hard, I think. You will not know whether you have any more reports sitting in this drop down. As you can see, there is a report called new book, but I am not able to know until I click on this. Whereas with the new version, the switcher will help you that there is one item, open item is there, by which I can easily go and close, or I can go and open that report. So if I've got many windows open, I think this switcher will tell me that there are 7, 8, or 10 windows open within Planning Analytics Workspace. Either I can use that to switch between the reports, or I can close it if I wanted, which was something which was missing in the older version of PAW. Close that. All right. Okay, now this is a big change which has happened compared to the older version to the new version. The layout of the report. Let me go back and create a new report, and also I'll create a new report in this. Right. Okay, the first thing you'll notice here is there is a lot of space in the new version. Let me double click on this. So you can see here, you have plenty of space in this new version of Planning Analytics, and the less has been taken out by this on the icons and all those things. So if I have to go to the old version, you can see you have on the top the banner, they have all these widgets. Then you also have this tree on the left, which, yes, you can hide it, but still, as you can see, it still takes significant space. A lot of space has been taken out by all these different options. But when I come to this new, you can see it is much more clean and easy to view. You still have all the options what you have, but it's been laid out a bit differently. So I'll go through a few things. What is the difference between this one and this, sorry, the old version and the new one. So the first thing you'll notice here is the task span. So here we have a plus sign by which we are able to go and see all the different types of TM1 instances. Right. And with the new version of Planning Analytics Workspace, you have this database icon. By clicking on this, you will get all your instances, same as your old version. So there's not much difference. The only thing is you can quickly hide and unhide by clicking on this symbol, the database symbol. Okay. Now, what about these features? So we have about 5-6 icons on the top, basically your action button, your images, your text box. So all these 5 have been added under these widgets button. So when I click on this, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those 5 buttons have been grouped under the standard list. And then this one, which is called shapes, has been listed down like this. So we still have all the features of the Planning Analytics Workspace 57 in 63, but it's been laid out differently so that we get more space when we do our dragging and dropping of all these different widgets. Okay, one thing you will notice here is there are 2 things which are missing from the old version. One is adding this view. This anyway is available for us to drag and drop from here itself. So I think for that reason, maybe IBM has removed that option. And also I think this option, which we had it in our older version of TM1, is to search for views and subsets and reports. I think that option is also not available in the new version of POP. So that's something to keep in mind, these 2 features. And also the symbol for the edit mode, as you can see, when we make any changes to this report, we normally click on this this pencil sign symbol where we can change from the edit mode switch on and off. Now that has been now changed with this icon called edit. So you can switch on and off. So one thing you'll notice here is as soon as I switch off, this navigation on the left side has been gone, whereas with this one you still have access to all the cubes and views, but as soon as the edit mode is off, you still have that option. But with the new version of POP, as soon as the edit mode is switched off, you will not find that, because the reason for that is, I believe, you get more space. I think as I mentioned, right, I think space has been one of the big action point from this new version. I think IBM wanted to have more space for the reporting. I think as I keep going on, you will find the pixel perfect reporting. Why do we need that? I think these are some small things which makes a big difference when we build our own dashboard. So that could be one of the reasons why when we click on this edit mode, IBM has taken out that task pan from the left side. Okay, so that's the report layout. As you can see, there is a big difference between the older version of POM versus the new version. More space we get.
Hi, Samir, while you are at this point, I think you had a polling question. Do you want me to launch it now?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's something I missed it. Do you want to launch that, Amindra? I think I just want to see how many users are using POM at your organization.
And it also has which version of POM, if you know it. So we've already quite a good number of people are already on version 63. So about close to 30% on version 63.
Right,
40% of us are not using POM at the moment.
Right.
We don't have a follow-up question, but it would be interesting to know why you're not using POM, whether you're not licensed for it at the moment. If not, then talk to us, or for some other reason, because this is quite a game-changing front end for your environment. All right, so the main numbers are that about 38% now stands at 38% are not using POM. 6% are using version 57 or less, and 20% are using version 58 to 62. 25% are using 63, and 13% are using POM, but are not sure which one.
Okay, so I think we have a good mix. Thanks, Amindra. Thanks for that.
All right. All right, I'll close that.
So, and can you confirm if you can see my PPT again?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, those of you, I think, just to highlight on that, those of you who are on cloud, you don't have to worry. I think your POW will be upgraded on as soon as the new version is available by IBM itself. But those of you who are on on premises, yeah, you might have to trigger the upgrade by yourself or your IT team, so that I think you get to the latest version. I've seen many clients with whom we are dealing with are still in old version for some business reasons. I think, but majority of people we are speaking to are planning to move into the latest version of POW, especially with the 63 release. I think a lot of things have changed. I think there is a good business case for many users to move into the latest version of POW. All right, so the next feature I have is the dashboard properties. I think, again, this will also has changed a lot compared to the older version of Planning Analytics Workspace. So as you can see on the left, I've got the Planning Analytics Workspace 57. If I go to the edit mode, I have got a blank screen. Now with the blank screen, we have this option called this three properties window for this dashboard. So this means I can set up the theme, or I can set up the background color for this dashboard for all the sheets. So this is kind of a master layout I want to set up for my book. So if I have to do the same thing, as you can see now, I've got many more options now available in the latest version of POW. So the two options which we see here, which is basically the themes, which we have a default light and dark, are now placed in this bucket. So if I have to switch from light to dark or light to dark, so that option is still there. And the other option is basically the background color, which is also there. Now, so those are the two options we have pretty much in your dashboard properties. But here you can see we have a lot more options. Now I want to go through some of the options which we have in the dashboard. I think the one thing I want to highlight here is the color, right? We can see here with the general style, we have only a set number of colors, about 10 to 15 colors. But with the new version of POW, you have more colors, and plus now you can also have your custom colors as well. So you can see now it has got more colors available to add. So you can even add some of the colors as your favorite. When we add some of the colors as favorites, you will be able to use across all the books, across all the sheets. So that's something to keep in mind. So you have about 12 favorites you can have. And also, if you want to have your more advanced colors, like you can bring in your red, green, blue, and also you can set up the saturation, your brightness. I think now this is where I'm talking about the pixel perfect reporting, where you get into that each and every part of your report, how much color you want to add, the brightness, the saturation, or whether you want to even have the RGB colors as well, which, as you can compare with the older version of POW, you can see it is very standard 10 to 15 colors. So that's on your colors and themes. Right, I'll move to the next feature, which is probably a grid. Now, it might sound like a small feature, but it is really powerful. Probably I want to go through this a bit more in detail. So we have this option called grid, where I can switch on and off. Maybe I'll zoom this a bit more. So when I switch this on, you will find there are some lines, the grids you can see here. Maybe I'll make the screen size A4. Right, so now I've got a grid here, which gives me some lines to help me if I have to position for example, any image. Now let me go and pick up a widget. Say, let me pick up this arrow. Maybe let's say this arrow. Right. Now, when I move this arrow, and also I'll do the same thing in this as well. So this is the old, on the left side, I've got the old version of POW, which is 57. I'll use the same thing. Right. Close this. Right. Okay, when I move this widget anyway, yes, we do get this line, and which helps us to set up where we want to keep our image, which is good. But when we come to this new version, you can see here, first thing you'll notice here is there is the position, the X axis and the Y axis. And if I want to expand this, it gives me the width and height. So not only the width and height. So if I go to the properties now, I can see here the position. If I move this, you'll notice that the position has changed from the x-axis and y-axis, and the width and the height and width. If I move this, you can see that has changed. And I can even change the angle. If I want to have it say 90 degrees, you can see it has changed to 90 degrees. Now, if I have to do this same thing, I think, yes, I can do that, but I think it will take some time. As you can see, it is not perfectly aligned in terms of the 90 degrees unless you do it. So again, it was much more easier for me using the new version of PAW with the x-axis, y-axis, length, width, height, and the angle as well. Now, I've seen the next step, what I'm going to do, a lot of developers, they find this as a very challenging. For example, when they add a new sheet, right, and then they want to have the exact same arrow placed in this sheet 2 as well. So for instance, I have to pick up one more arrow, or I can even clone it as well. But let's say I have to do the same steps in sheet 2 as well. I have to bring this, I have to switch this, I have to, so I'm not sure. I mean, it will take some time for me to make sure that I align perfectly to where the sheet 1 is there. Now, if I have to do this in this new version of PAW, now see how easy it is. So if I create a new tab, all right, now if I bring the same arrow, okay, so all I need for this tab 2 is the properties of this. So the properties of this is, so I have about, say, let's say this is 34 and this is 35. And the width is about, say, 34 and the height is, say, 20. Right. So this is what the properties of this image is. So I just need this properties in my tab 2. So you can see here it's sitting somewhere here. I'll click on this. Oh, sorry, let me just grab that properties. So 34 and 35. Okay, so 34, 35, 34, 20, and then 90 degrees. Here we go. So here, tab 1 and tab 2, exact same position, not an inch, not a millimeter up or down on the in terms of the size and the placement, exact perfect. But when it comes to this one, I can do it, but it will take some time for me to get to that exact position of the sheet 1 and sheet 2. So this is where probably it's really powerful now with all this positioning, the sizing and the rotation, the angles. It helps you to place your icons or your views, your visualizations exactly to the spot where you want to keep. Whereas you don't have to guess where you have to drag and drop, but rather you can use the properties and set up the position or the height and width of your objects. And not only that, I think all these widgets, what we bring from this left side, we not only get the properties, but we can also change the layout or the colors. Again, the colors which are available in the older version of, you can see here, it has got a standard colors about 10 to 15. But again, when we go to the new version of Planning Analytics Workspace, which version 63, I can bring in any color from, if I go to this view, I can have my own RGB color, apply, and you can see here bang. So I've got unlimited colors now to play around with, whereas with the version 57 and less, you don't have that many color options as well. Right, so that's on the grid. So how, and also you can see here the grid helps us to place the images as well. So as you can see, the lines are there. So once we have got the placement right, then if you want, you can even switch off the grid, by which we don't have to see the lines anymore. But that can come right at the end of your finishing your dashboard before you close this edit mode. All right, so the next one I have is the tab. Right, so we'll use the same example of what I've done here. So I've got tab 1 and I've got tab 2, which is basically your sheet 1 and sheet 2. So if I want to rename this, it's easy. I can go and say, so I'll just call this as tab 1, and I can say this as tab 2. So easy to rename the space. Right. And here also we have the same options to edit. But one thing you'll notice here now with this tabs is, if I go back to the tab sections. So this is, I'm now in the dashboard properties window. So within the tab, now I've got master tab styling, or I've got individual tab styling. So I can color each and every tab to have its own background color, or it can have its own font color. And not only that, I can also have some icons placed next to the, so let's say I used tab 1. So for tab 1, I want to have the title color to be in green. You can see the color has changed. I want to have an icon next to tab 1. Let's say I want to keep it, okay, because this tab is about security. Maybe I want to have something to do with the like an icon which talks about, okay, some settings has to be done. So we can have that icon placed, and I can even have the color for the icon. Maybe I'll keep it red. And then I can have a background color for the tab. Sorry, the bar color, the line, and the fill color, which is basically the color of the tab. So you can, as you can see, I can fully customize each and every tab. If I've got 5 tabs, I can customize that. Or if I want to have one standard styling applied across all the tabs, then I can use this master tab styling, by which I can apply one set of colors for the title, the bar, and the fill color. Then pretty much all the tabs will have the same color. Or if I want, I can go back and say restore as well. So quickly it will go back to the default. So that option is also available. Okay, now another feature of the tabs is the tab position, right? If you see here, the tabs are always on the top. But with the new version of Planning Analytics Workspace, you have the option to select where you want to keep your tabs. So on the top, which is by default, you also have it on the left, on the bottom, or you can keep it on the right as well. So you get the flexibility to move your tabs any of the 4 positions. And there is an icon position as well. Where do you want to keep your icon? Right now it is sitting on the right side of the title of the tab, but if I want to make it below or left, I can do that one as well. So I can move the icons, which are the tab icons, either left, right, top, or bottom as well. So you can see here, I think there's a separate section for the tabs. So there are so much you can do within the tabs. Whereas with here, there was not much options were there. Yeah. Yes, you can change the name. Yes, you can go and change the, sorry. Yeah, you can edit, or you can delete, or you can clone as well. But with the new version, as you can see, you can apply a lot more coloring and formatting to the tabs. Right, so the next one I have is the searching objects. Now, this is the feature which I've been waiting for a very long time. I mean, I've been using TM1 for 14 years now. I'm not sure, I think, why it took so long, but anyway, it's there now. I think to search for your TM1 objects. So for that, I have to go back to this task pan. Now, let's say I'm going to expand my processes. As you can see, I've got plenty of processes in this instance, and the same thing I can do here as well. If I expand this, if I go to the processes, and I can see exact same, because it's the same instance, I can see the same processes here as well. Now, if I want to find some processes which has the letters SPSS, for example, like this, SPSS, I'm not sure how many processes has got that. If I have to use this Planning Analytics Workspace 57 and less version, I have to go one by one and see for that SPSS. But as you can see, every node or every object within this TM1 tree, and now we have this thing called search button. So as I type in each and every letter, so if I type in S, SP. So as I type in, it starts searching for it. So if I say SPSS, now I can see quickly, I can see all the processes which has got the letters SPSS. So this way it is much more easy for you to quickly look for the processes, or it could be cubes or dimensions as well. For example, if I go to the dimensions now, again, you have the search dimensions. If I go to the cubes, I have the search cubes. One thing to note here is if you have less objects, like say 5 or 10, you will not find that search. For example, if I'm looking into chores, you'll see the search is not there because it's only few items are there. So in that case, it will not display. And also, of course, in your control objects, you will find the search because you will have plenty of control objects. So it becomes really easy and helpful for you to make any search on your tier 1 objects, whether it's cubes, dimensions, processes, chores, or even applications as well. So that's your search objects feature. Right, so the next one I have is the view. So I've got another couple more. I think we can put another 10 minutes to go. Right, so in the views, let me open a cube. Income statement, views, drag the default. And I'll do the same thing on the new version as well. Income statement, views. Right, so I've got the same view, pretty much the same view on both the left and right side. So when I click on this view and click on this ribbon, you will notice there are a lot of options available in this within this cube view. But whereas in the new version of Planning Analytics, when I click on this, it's much more easy to pick. One is it's much more smaller. The icons are much smaller. And two, what you will notice here is, maybe I'll expand this. Right. So what IBM has done is it has grouped this into 2 buckets. One is called the book tools. So the book tool starts from here and it finishes right here. So that goes for the book. So anything I do here, if your book has got many widgets, it will apply for all those widgets. For example, if I refresh, it will refresh not only this, but it will refresh all the objects. And from here onwards, you see the widget tool. So for this widget, I've got all these options, whether I want to change the visualizations, I want to refresh. As you can see, I've got a recalculate the refresh button again, but that refresh is only for this specific view. So that was something missing in this. As you can see, everything has been grouped into one line, whereas with the new version, you have these 2 options being grouped into 2 things. One is the book tools, which starts from here and finishes till here. And then you have this options, which is specifically for this cube view. Right, so the 2 more things I want to showcase before we can close this call is the visualizations, right? I think that's something I haven't touched base. So in our old version of POM, which is 57 and less, when we click on this cube view, you see the visualizations pop up. And I think one thing you'll notice here is it will only display those visualizations which are applicable for this specific view. As you can see, there is no world map is not there. So that was very smartly built in. But it has its own pros and cons. But I think to overcome this, I think with the new version of POM, you will not find that. You will pretty much get all the visualizations available in POM. So when I go with the visualizations, right. So when I go to the visualizations, you can see all the visualizations are available for me. And if I have to pick the one which I wanted to talk about is the waterfall chart, which was added not in the latest version, but it's been there for probably a few months now. But I believe not many people are aware of that there is a new chart available called waterfall. Now, with that, I think you can have your waterfall chart available in your reports. And as you can see, this is something which was recently added. I think if you move or resize your chart, I think it automatically fits in the size of that window. That was really cool in terms of especially if you're using on iPad, which is supported with this latest version of POM. Depending on the size of your screen, I think this will adjust and fit in within that screen size. So maybe I'll just zoom in a bit more. Right. So as you can see, when I zoom resize, it fits in nicely within that window. And also, if you are in this area, you can use your scroll up and down to zoom in as well. So that's something really good. If we have too many things going on in the chart, if you want to go specific to this specific section, you can zoom in and then see, okay, this is for account number 6399, and it becomes really easy visually if you want to zoom into specific area of the visualization. And of course, the colors, I think all the colors which I spoke about in terms of you can apply your own colors can be done for this chart as well. So if I go to the visualizations, you have the fill color, you have the border color. So you have, again, plenty of colors to apply for this chart. So you don't have to go with the standard colors as we have done with the Planning Analytics Workspace with 57 and less. Now with the latest version, you can go and use your company or colors, apply that, and then you can start using that as well. Right, so the last feature I wanted to showcase, so that's the last one I have. So the action buttons. Right, so let me go back to this exploration view. And now let me grab a button which is used for action button. Right, I'm going to bring this action button. Sorry, just 1 second. I think my screen is too big, I think. Right. Right, so I've got a view which has got the month selected as Feb, and I've got an action button. Now with this action button, I want to give the user the flexibility to load this queue. But when they select the month, say for example from Feb to March, I want to make sure it synchronizes with the TM1 process by when they click on this button. So I don't want to let the user type in the month. Rather, whenever he selects a month, I want that to be synchronized with this process. That's something that has been added recently. So if I have to do that, I will click on this button and go to this properties, and I'll say run a process. I'll say run a process. Sorry, let's click on that, run a process, switch on. The instance name is TM1, and the process I want to run is, say, load income statement. And if I see there is an option called set parameters. Within that set parameters, I can ask the user to type in when the process is executed, or I can now select this option called synchronize. When I select this synchronize option, it will ask me, okay, which dimension I want to select. I'll say this is the month which I want to synchronize. And the hierarchy is also a month. Now, once I do that, and if I say save, I'll give a name to this, say load data. Okay. Once I switch off this edit mode, and let's say this is my report. Now, when the user comes in, when they click on this load button, you can see here there is a prompt saying MMM, but the user doesn't have the option to type in anything, because that has been grayed out, because the process now knows that the user has selected the month as March. So when I click OK, the process will run. It will grab the month, March month data, and it will load into this. And the same goes for the other months as well. If I select May and the user selects this, and again, it's grayed out. And whatever month the user selects in this will be the one which will get passed into the synchronization option. Okay, that was my last feature I wanted to showcase. And with that, I'll open the floor for any Q&A.
Thank you, Samir. That's quite amazing. It's looking quite good now, isn't it?
It has changed completely now, yes.
All right, there have been a few questions that have come in. If there are any others, feel free to drop it in the chat or the Q&A. One is, once you upgrade to the latest version of PO, is it possible to go back and downgrade?
So yeah, I think that's a good point. I think if you are on cloud, as I mentioned, I think IBM will automatically upgrade your PO. But if you are on local, then yes, you can. If you are on 63, for instance, if you want to go back to say 61, because it's on local, you can do it. But with cloud, the answer is no. But with on-premises, the answer is yes.
Okay. And what about PEX? So if you do upgrade PO, do you also need to upgrade PEX?
I think that depends on the version of PO you'll be. For instance, if you're going from say version 45 and you're jumping straight to 63, then yes, you need to upgrade your packs as well. But let's say you're moving from 61 to 62, which is a minor upgrade, then you don't have to upgrade your packs.
Okay, good. And what about mobile devices? So Workspace works is supported
iPad.
by.
Yes, at this point, I think iPad is supported, but hopefully in future there could be other Android devices IBM might support. But at this point, yes, iPad is supported with the latest version of PO.
Okay, I think that's all the. Or there's one more that's coming. Which version onwards is grid mode supported or available?
Yeah, the grid was available from 62 onwards. So 62 and 63, they both have got the grid option.
All right. Awesome. All right. I think we're just on time as well. I've got no further questions. If anyone else has anything else, just feel free to drop us a line and we'll answer it separately. Thanks again. Thanks, Samir. That was really interesting. Thanks everyone for joining in. Be on the lookout for our next future webinars. We have one of this every month. And also in the next couple of days, be on the lookout for an email from me with details on our training that we're launching. So you'll have the first access to register if you're interested. It will be both on PO and PEX. Further details in that email. All right. Thanks everyone. We'll close this call now. Bye.
Bye-bye.